In this week's Writing Wednesday, Kitty gets jealous when another woman hits on Ben in the middle of the gym. Stay tuned as I write in real time a scene from The Wedding, Book 10 of the Ramesly Brothers series, a romance novel that has a little drama, a little comedy, and the most important part, a happily ever after. And welcome to Writing Wednesday number 5. So this week we're going to talk about Kitty and Ben, who are exploring their relationship. And so it's going to be a lot of fun finding out a little bit more about them. So we're going to have a little setup for this scene. Right now we're starting with Kitty and Ben at the gym. This is kind of an out of context scene, so I haven't actually written the before it. I haven't written the after it, but it is going to fit into the book in some way or form. So as you can see right here, we've got our actual writing, what we would like to call this, an outline, I guess. I've got kind of a timetable of things where I think they should be, and I'm not sure that Kitty defends Ben is going to be right after Henry and Ben's scene. I think it's actually going to be later. So I'm going to move it to the Monday morning Christmas. This is just tentative at this time. We've got all sorts of different things going on. We've got a wedding. We've got a second set of weddings. Brittany has to arrive for that. We're basically at the point where the first wedding has taken place. I've gotten up to there written, and I'm working my way through the end of the book. And some things I have written, some things I have not. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And if you look under Tuesday, yeah, spoiler alert, there says bomb on there. That's going to be interesting. So if you want to know more about what happens, you're going to have to read it when it comes out. This is book number 10 of the Ramesly Brothers series. It's kind of a little bit of comedy, a lot of drama, some mystery, and romance all rolled into one. So this one is called The Wedding because, hello, it's a wedding weekend and there's multiple weddings. So that seemed pretty fitting. We don't follow any one particular couple in this particular book. So we're following a bunch of different couples. And if you've read the previous books, you'll be able to keep up. If you haven't, it might be a little bit more difficult, but you can still read it and you will be filled in as we go. So hopefully, maybe we're going on for a Christmas morning here. And like I said, this is kind of out of context. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be backing this scene up even further than what it is. Because as you can see before, Henry and Ben were chatting about his lack of relationships, Henry's, and how they're mildly confused over women, which a lot of men generally are. Let's face it, we are complicated creatures. Which is why we like a good romance book, because we always know there will be a happily ever after or a happily for now. So if you'll see in the background of my picture of me doing my lovely concentrating face, you'll notice that there is a crocheted sloth, and he's just hanging there on a little stick, holding on to a plant in the office, which is pretty cool. So yeah, not my usual gigs. I'm at a different office for that day, but you will see that I am writing this out. And we're having right into the gym scene, and I will have already edited part of this because it didn't really make too much sense the way she was like saying things. So I did edit it and it makes better sense now. So Kitty has wiped her sweat from her face with her towel as she climbed the stair contraption in the gym. She never could remember what it was called. Personally, I can't remember what it's called. It's just the stairs, right? I mean, not really sure if it has a specific name. Honestly, as a woman, I don't care and I don't use it. I do use other things at the gym, but not that. Quick fact, I enjoy a rowing machine. I know, kind of funny. So Ben was beside her doing the same on his. It was awkward. And the reason it's awkward is ever since the kiss, they had been avoiding each other's eyes, ignoring the embarrassing tension and having were being ultra polite. So apparently in a previous chapter, which if you read the book you will find out, they did share a kiss. Now there are some extenuating circumstances around this kiss, and Ben's not really sure if Kitty likes him for him or if she is more interested in perhaps his money. So he's kind of learning about that and trying to decide how to decipher his friendship with Kitty. And she's kind of trying to decipher her friendship with him because things have changed in her world, and she has decided that she might slowly maybe be having some feelings for her friend. They've been friends for about 6 years or so. And it's kind of a cute little thing at the beginning of how we introduce them. And some conflict in there, and an ex of hers is making an appearance here and there, which has made some tension between the two, which is good. It's always good to have tension between your characters so that they have something to come up against, something to overcome, helps them create a really nice character arc. So, unfortunately, I wish this was a little bit better so I could see it better. It's very small on my screen. But we will continue to read and add our little joyous things. Usually she would try to clear the air, joke that it had been a mistake, and move on. This time was different. Usually the guy gave some sort of indication of what he felt, what he wanted. So I did revise those few sentences because 2 usuallys in a row is a bad thing, and it didn't really make much sense. So I brought the usually she would clear the air, joke that it had been a mistake, and I brought it down. And after usually the guy gave some indication of what he felt, what he wanted, and she would kind of play off of his cues, and then she would try to clear the air and joke that it had been a mistake and move on if he, gave her a basic indication that he wasn't interested. And if he was, she would flirt like mad. So I did change that to make it give more sense, because in the context that I wrote it, it was kind of out of order and didn't fit correctly. Ben was keeping his feelings close to his chest, waiting for her to make the first move. Kelly didn't know it. Oh, sorry, Kelly. Ha ha, Kitty. That's a problem when you have two characters that have very close names, and I noticed that after I did it, but it's too late now, because she's Kitty. That's who she is. Kitty didn't know what to do. She wanted Ben and her to remain friends no matter the outcome. She supposed she wanted more than friendship from him after yesterday's events, where he had disappeared all day after that crazy guy had held them hostage with a bomb. Spoiler alert. There's a crazy guy with a bomb on the loose at the hotel. So yes, things do happen, and it's going to be very interesting. Oh, look! If you can see the sloth, if you looked up when I adjusted my camera there. Because it was going down, down, down. And webcams are famous for that. Gravity, you know? So, crazy hostage with a bomb. Kitty knew that she cared more for Ben than she... then they had been held hostage with a bomb. Okay, by the crazy guy. Kitty knew that she cared more for Ben than she previously thought. She had been worried sick about his welfare while he forgot about her and worked to get the hotel back up and running. It was a little depressing. It is a little depressing, especially when guys compartmentalize things and go, well, she's fine, I'm fine, and I'm going to do my thing. And he hasn't actually told her that he's fine. So, yes, she freaked out probably a little bit, and I'll probably have to write that in somewhere so that we get that impression. So that is another little thing that I should actually put onto my outline of things to write about and to do, because we don't want to miss that. It's an opportunity to get her feelings out into the open and realize that her feelings are deeper than what they used to be, or what they were at the start of this book anyway. Perhaps he just didn't feel the same way about her. Oh, you'll notice I put something in there. I revised something out of self. Who was she kidding herself? Thought Kitty. That is a badly worded sentence. Okay, that's gonna have to get to. This is why we revise. We go back, we reread, we revise, we repeat. We throw it through the editor and we look at all the little grammar mistakes. And then we give it to somebody else to read. Because they will catch things that your brain goes, this is perfectly normal because I wrote it and I recognize it and therefore it must be okay. And I have scanned over the words, usually the front and back of the sentence, and I don't notice that, sometimes sentences don't make sense. Because that's why, again, we need other people to help us go through these things. And I admit I miss stuff. And every good book out there will have mistakes. It will have spelling errors. It will have something that doesn't quite make sense. Usually it doesn't have an abundance of them. But it happens. So anyhow, and that happens whether you're with a traditional publisher or you're an indie publisher and you're doing it on your own. Doesn't matter. They are there. If you look for the mistakes, you will find them. So, where were we? Putting the thought of future with Ben in her head. Yeah, she's going to scold her friends for that. His probable rejection wouldn't hurt so much if she hadn't realized how much she wanted a guy exactly like him. Who was she kidding? Get rid of this herself. Gonna have to edit that thought. Kitty. Ben was who she wanted. Ben, who made her feel safe, cared for, always was available for, and I think we can get rid of that for, always was available for her, and now who made her palms sweaty and her heart skip a beat when she looked at him. So there again is another poorly worded sentence, and will have to be restructured slightly. All because of that ill-fated kiss. Holly had said she should blame it on the booze. Kitty didn't want to. She would rather repeat it. So yes, Kitty and Holly meet up, and Holly gives her some advice. And it doesn't go as well as one would hope, because that's how you get character growth. You give them an opportunity to do something, and you let them mess it up. Usually I like to just throw as much wrong as I can at them without making it too unbelievable. And let them mess it up, and then they have to find their redemption by making it better again. So, yeah, that's kind of how I enjoy messing with my characters and see how they overcome the obstacles that I give them. So, she would rather repeat it. The timer on her watch went off, and Kitty slowed her machine to a crawl. Ben would do at least 10 more minutes than her since his goal was to lose weight. Or rather, the goal Kitty had set for him. When Ben's brother Nate had died of a heart attack, Kitty had taken over Ben's nutrition and gym time. She wasn't going to lose him. So in the previous book, our lovely Convincing Him is where Nate, Ben's brother, unfortunately passed away. And that is a large part of that storyline as well. So Nate is kind of coming up again in this particular book, spoiler alert, as is his relationships with his brothers and cousins. So it's very interesting of how he has his death about a month ago has reflected on everyone else in the Ramesly family. So, even now, as she did her cool down, Kitty could see another woman at the gym sizing Ben up. This was something new which had started lately. Ben had dropped some weight and was losing inches. In response, some of the women who liked a huskier, fit fellow were starting to notice him. Kitty already had to fend off a woman who looked like she had been ready to ask for Ben's phone number. So, I think I might have revised that to a couple of women, but yeah, Ben is getting sized up at the gym because Ben doesn't get out that often. So, poor Kitty's getting a little jealous and feeling a little possessive of her friend that she has known for quite some time, but is starting to have feelings for. And she's going to step in because she doesn't share. Poor girl. It was starting to happen more frequently. The appreciative looks. Kitty wasn't a fan. Yeah, she's definitely feeling jealous and territorial. And it's funny because Ben doesn't notice it, because Ben is used to being chubby, shy, nerdy, and generally somewhat invisible, especially compared to all of his brothers and cousins who are, fit athletes, former athletes, who go out and do stuff and are very assertive and handsome and have lived a generally different life than him. So he's a much quieter person, and it kind of shows. But in this case, he's starting to get looks, and she's not liking it at all. She didn't want Ben going out with some other girl. It was selfish of her, she knew. Kitty found she had become possessive of him. So she definitely has a crush, and that is part of the theme of this book, that she and Ben are working their way through some stuff. Whether or not they're going to get together at the end is a different story, because I haven't really decided. Part of me says that they should. It would be nice to have them happily ever after. Another part of me says, well, they could probably have a happily ever after in the next book or the book after. Because Ben is very useful when it comes to technology, and I could reuse his character again and bring some drama into it for him and Kitty. The question is, what am I going to do? I have not decided, which is kind of how I fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm a bit of a pantser when it comes to actually writing my novels. Sometimes I am more of a plotter, and as you've seen before, I actually write down some necessities in each scene. It just depends what kind of mood I'm in and where I'm going with it. So, we'll see. Speaking of plotter, there is an interesting and handy program for writers. I'm going to have to do a few videos on that and see what I can do, if I can get a affiliate link, because I find that is a very good program, especially for people who are looking to put together like a series, and it will help keep things straight. So that is something that I would be interested, I should say, in pursuing further and having a look at. So that would be something to think about. And so we're going to continue on. Where were we? Yep. She's becoming possessive of him. Oh, her watch beeped again, indicating the workout was over for her. She shut down the machine, and, as you can see, I am actually editing as I go here. Descended from it. She's grabbing the spray bottle and the cloth to sanitize it. Normally, Kitty would do some stretching while she waited for Ben to finish. There wasn't much room to do that in the hotel gym. While it had great machines and weights, the gym itself was small, almost an afterthought in the design of the hotel, which is very interesting because it's a luxury hotel that they're staying in, but the gym is not up to snuff. Kitty supposed guests paying this much didn't generally use the hotel gym. Usually use? Yeah, it should be generally use. That should be switched too, because usually use together is kind of a weird, jarring way to put forward a sentence. Putting her spray bottle back, she was almost bumped into by the woman who had previously been eyeing Ben. Kitty stumbled out of the way and watched in surprise as the bottled blonde, Instagram perfect in nearly every way, sidled up to Ben's machine. So yes, we've got some, Kitty at this point is facing a little bit of competition. She practically purred a hello. This is the bottled blonde lady. I'm going to have to make that clear. Ben gave an uncertain greeting in return. Oh, definitely no, thought Kitty with a scowl. See, so I like to use italics when I'm doing a thought in kind of first-person language. something that otherwise would be said, but said in their head with their inside voice. So that's when I use the fabulous italics. Some people might put it with a single apostrophe, but I would prefer italics for that sort of thing. It's just a writer's preference, and I feel like it definitely gets the thought process across. "I was just," began the blonde, but Kitty, stopping beside her, nudged her a little briskly. "Hey." "Yeah." "I'm sorry, Ben, but could we cut this short?" asked Kitty, ignoring the woman beside her. "I'm not feeling very well." Kind of the age-old, butting into the conversation and getting what you want, especially when you already know the person. A distraction. That's the word I'm looking for. The age-old distraction. So that gets the attention on her and not this new lady who is angling for an introduction and possibly a little bit more. Because she seems quite bold, this young woman. But, yeah. She needs to be gotten rid of, according to Kitty. And Kitty is not feeling very well. Sure, agreed Ben. He shut off his machine and quickly sanitized it. "Why doesn't your friend go to her room and lie down?" asked the blonde with concern as fake as her eyelashes. That's a bit snippy from Kitty, but that's hilarious at the same point, so we will definitely keep it. "I'm all alone in the hotel." Yeah, what a sob story. "And was wondering if you might like to have breakfast with me." I'm sure she mentioned that she was all alone in the hotel for much more than breakfast and was angling for something more, which is very bold because Kitty's like right there. And yeah, this lady's definitely looking to have a good time. If you'll excuse me," Ben gave her a confused look, because again, Ben doesn't always understand these, not so subtle social cues. "I'm going to see my friend upstairs." Yep, he's being the gentleman, and he's clueless as ever when it comes to people. Kitty shot the blonde a triumphant look, because Kitty knows. Kitty understands social cues, even though Ben does not. As Ben threw the cleaning cloth, sometimes you have to clarify. You can't just say cloth. You have to say cleaning cloth so that people know these things. You have to put in the extra description. And I'm not really a description person, so I do more description in my cozy mysteries, not necessarily in these. He threw his cleaning cloth into the appropriate bin. She grabbed onto Ben's arm as they exited the gym. "She was a little odd," remarked Ben, because he did pick up that it was odd that she would just approach and be like, "Hey, want to have breakfast?" even though his friend is like standing right beside her. "Do you need anything from the gift shop? They sometimes have medications there." See, he's concerned for Kitty's welfare, which is sweet. And then they're going to go find Ben's mother, Mary. So the next part of the scene will work on that. So if you stay tuned for the next Writing Wednesday, we have a little bit of a dispute or disagreement about Kitty between Ben and Mary and Kitty as they all kind of get together. And there's a little bit of confusion as to Kitty's role and during the weekend, and some strong language. Stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss any future videos, and share. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Writing Wednesday.